Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. We begin tonight with some breaking news out of Hayden, Idaho. That's where a 3-alarm fire started earlier tonight. Northern Lakes fire crews responded to Ballard golf cars and power sports with an estimated 30 firefighters. As of right now, no injuries or deaths have been reported, and crews have since gotten that fire under control. But fire officials say a partial roof collapse is possible. This is a developing story. We will bring you any details just as soon as we get them into the newsroom. Well, a new homeless shelter could be coming to an industrial area of East Spokane. Today, Mayor Nadine Woodward announced the city is negotiating a lease on a 33,000 square foot building. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk live in the newsroom tonight with what we know about this proposal. Kyle?
Well, Mayor Woodward says the city has spent months looking at nearly 100 locations, but she said this building on Trent checks all the boxes. Now she hopes city council members will agree. This building on East Trent was once home to Berg Industries, a company that manufactures tents and shelters for the U.S. military. The building may soon become a large shelter itself, housing hundreds of men and women in need.
There is never a perfect location. There are always people who will have concerns, and there will always be some pushback. But I think this location really meets the needs that we're trying to address.
Mayor Nadine Woodward says the location checks all the boxes she wants. It's on a bus route and not near residential neighborhoods, schools, or daycares.
So we are now negotiating a lease on this property.
Woodward says the city has been in touch with businesses in the area. Some have concerns.
We're going to make sure that their employees are safe and their assets are protected. And we'll have security on site, police patrols. We'll have a hotline they can call if they ever have a concern or a problem.
City council members were recently given a tour of the site, including Michael Cathcart.
There's no great place to put a shelter, and I certainly don't love the fact that it's another shelter in my district, but I think that this site does work.
The city is planning to offer a handful of services on site, including mental health, addiction, and job training.
Another benefit of having this additional capacity is that it is going to give the city the ability to enforce some of the laws that are on the books now. And so when there is some of that illegal camping and stuff going on, the city will now have the ability to enforce some of that stuff and direct those folks to the new shelter site.
Many of the people camping off I-90 in Freya say they need their own space and don't want to sleep in a shelter with hundreds of other people. And Spokane City Council members will need to approve the plan and a contract with a shelter operator. That vote could happen as early as next week. In the newsroom, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much. Now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. The homeless camp off I-90 in Freya is growing. Also growing the number of reported crimes in the neighborhood.
You're driving into Spokane, and what do you see? That's what you see. Does that represent Spokane? I don't think so. So, you know, I'm pretty ticked off about it. You know, it's just affecting all of us, but I just can't imagine being somebody thinking about moving into Spokane and seeing that nightmare.
According to Spokane police, more than 800 incidents have been called in within a quarter mile of the homeless camp since the start of December. So-called Camp Hope is located right off I-90 in Freya and sits on state-owned land, which means the city cannot step in to remove any residents there. Neighbors in the area say they have seen the camp grow from 2 to 3 tents to now dozens. According to SPD, the number of incidents since December of 2021 has now gone up 58% compared to that same time frame just last year. One man is dead after a shooting early this morning in north central Spokane. Police say they received several reports of gunshots near Maxwell and Lincoln. While police were responding to the area, another caller told police about a car crash near Augusta and Wall. The caller told police there was a man lying in the street not moving. Police found that man, who they say was suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation into this incident is ongoing. If you live in the area and witnessed anything that you think could help, police are asking you to please call Crime Check.
We are in the process right now of forming that task force, deciding who should be at the table, what it looks like, and what we're going to focus on. And if we can get to the preventative part of this crime, then I think that would be the goal.
Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward says she's taking steps to form a task force in response to the string of shootings that happened over the weekend. She says shootings are increasing not just in Spokane, but across the country. Woodward says she understands the community is frustrated with the recent violence, but she also encourages the community to help police in their efforts to take a stand against these violent crimes. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. All right, let's talk weather now. It was another cold day across the inland Northwest, and heading in tomorrow, you might want that coat once again. Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo in the Outdoor Weather Center again tonight. Jeremy, certainly doesn't feel like we're almost in mid-April right now.
Mark, definitely not if you step outside. Get this, temperatures already close to freezing, and that means they're dropping and going to find their way into the 20s rather quickly. 33 degrees right now with a wind chill of just 25, and I can attest to that as I stand out here in the Outdoor Weather Center. It is cold. 30 in Coeur d'Alene, 32 in Sandpoint, and temps still in the mid-30s in central Washington with a little more cloud cover. Here, I can't actually see the moon out there, and that's a good sign that things are going to continue to cool down. We'll continue to clear out eastern Washington and North Idaho overnight. That helps temperatures drop. Here comes our next little wave of energy, and as this moves in, we'll see a few more scattered showers as we move through Tuesday. Most of those stay down to the south, and most of those don't pack anything accumulating, but scattered showers nonetheless. Overnight, we watch temps fall into the 20s. It's going to be a chilly start to the day on Wednesday, and by tomorrow afternoon, we top out in the mid-40s. Sure, that's warmer than where we've been, but still about 10 degrees shy of where we should be.
We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. Thank you very much. In the market to buy a home? Well, get ready to shell out even more money. Home prices in Spokane County have reached yet another record high. As of March, the median price to buy a home here, $430,000. The report was put out by the Spokane Association of Realtors. It shattered the historic high set just 1 month before in February. The median price increased 7.7% in just 1 month. Compared to 1 year ago, the median price is up 26.3% from the same time in 2021. Houses are on the market and they're also in short supply. A healthy housing market has a 5.5-month supply. The Spokane Association of Realtors said in March there was just a half a month worth of homes sitting on the market. Those homes also selling quickly, with the average house hitting the market just 4 days. All right, turning to your national news now. At least 10 people were shot on a New York subway train during rush hour this morning.
They had no caring about the individuals that they assaulted as they simply went about their daily lives.
That was New York Governor Kathy Hochul reacting to the shooting earlier today. Now a massive manhunt underway for the suspect, identified as Frank James. Police say he opened a smoke canister as the train pulled into the station and then opened fire in the chaos. Police say James was last seen wearing a green construction vest and a gas mask. Anyone with any information about his whereabouts is urged to call the NYPD tip line at 1-800-577-TIPS. Tonight, President Joe Biden says, quote, evidence is mounting that the Russians could be committing genocide in Ukraine. This comes after the U.S. is investigating reports that Russia used chemical agents in the city of Mariupol. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials say at least 10,000 civilians have been killed in Mariupol since the invasion began, and the city continues to be under siege as the Russians refocus their attention and firepower toward eastern Ukraine. Also today, Russian President Vladimir Putin lashed out at Western sanctions and said his military operations will continue in Ukraine until he meets his goals. Taking a look at other Northwest news tonight, a 15-year-old's been arrested in connection to a deadly shooting during a robbery at a pot shop. He's also believed to be linked to multiple robberies across western Washington. Seattle police arrested him yesterday. That shooting happened back on March 19th at World of Weed Cannabis Dispensary in Tacoma. Police are still searching for another suspect in that case. Boise will start enforcing a new code to regulate short-term rentals in the city. The new code for short-term rentals like Airbnbs is in response to a, quote, lack of regulations. Cost for a license, $80 a year per property, which covers administrative costs. The city is trying to bridge concerns from the community while also creating accountability for people who rent places out for short periods of time. The new licensing requirement will also help give a better data on how many short-term rentals are operating in the Boise area and their impact on the community. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. We'll share what our local U.S. attorney is calling the largest ever healthcare fraud settlement in the Eastern District of Washington. why Providence Health agreed to pay nearly $23 million in that settlement. We're back in just 90 seconds.